everyone, it's Ashley and today I'm bringing you my February wrap-up. In the month of February, I read 4 graphic novels and 3 novels. One of the books I read this month was the first 5 out of 5 stars that I've given a book in 2017, and one of the graphic novels that I read this month was so good that I kind of want every single person to read it. It's probably the first, 5 out of 5 highly recommend graphic novel that I've read in a very long time. So I'm very excited to show you guys what I read this month. Let's do this. The first thing that I read in the month of February was actually a novel, and it was All Are Wrong Today by Elon Mastai. I will put a picture of it right here for you guys. I actually lent out my copy to my best friend Katie, which you may or may not know if you watch my vlogs. I will leave that vlog linked down below for you guys if you want to check it out. But I lent it to her because this book was so freaking good. I filmed a review for this book, but basically the whole video I'm just blabbing, so I have yet to edit it, but once it is edited, I will leave it linked down below for you guys. This book is kind of like a time travel quirky romp of a read. It's so much fun. It takes place in an alternate 2016, which is apparently the 2016 that we were supposed to have, and basically the main character Tom goes back in time and screws something up and ends up in our version of 2016. And honestly, this is probably the best time travel story that I have ever consumed, whether it be book or a movie or TV show. This one just does time travel so well. I just can't recommend this highly enough. It's also a Canadian author, so please just read this book. It's so good. After that, I read the first volume of Sweet Tooth. I really enjoyed this, but I didn't love it as much as a lot of people did. However, I could see myself loving the rest of the series because it does look like the series is going to be amazing. I love the premise of it. I just kind of didn't get enough out of this first volume to give it a 5 out of 5, but I do think I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars. For those of you who don't know, this series takes place in a dystopian future where kids are being born part animal and they're all kind of dying off and being hunted, and it follows a main character who's been living in the woods kind of isolated from society, and now he is kind of witnessing what has gone on in society while he's been isolated from it. Next, I read The Careful Undressing of Love by Corianne Haydu. This is kind of a almost magical realism-y book about this street in New York City in kind of an alternate reality of our version of New York City, and there's a legend that all of the girls on this street are cursed, and if they fall in love with a boy, that boy will die. The book kind of follows that curse and a main character that is one of the girls from that street and all of her friends from that street, and how this curse affects them on so many levels, and it just really peels back the layers of what loving someone really is and what it really means. And I quite liked this. I think I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't quite as punchy as I wanted it to be. It just wasn't quite at the level that I was really expecting from it. However, I did really enjoy it. I found myself constantly reading, always wanting to be reading it. I was very engrossed in the storyline. I did like the characters, but there was a lot of characters, and I found that because there was a lot of characters, some of the characters weren't as well developed as I really wanted them to be. However, I would say that I did quite enjoy this, especially if you're looking for kind of a quirky magical realism-y book. Also, this cover is honestly, Penguin is just killing it with covers lately. Next, I read 1 Week in the Library, which is a one-off graphic novel. I had such high hopes for this. It follows a man who works in a library, and the stories come to life and they escape their books, and he's kind of trapped inside that library, and I read the back and I was like, this has so much potential, and I was so excited for it. Truthfully, it just fell short for me. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. It was fun. I did continue reading. I could have stopped reading after 1 or 2 issues if I really wanted. That being said, the second last issue, phenomenal. Before the second last issue, I probably would have given this a 1 out of 5 stars, but that issue was a 5 out of 5 stars. It was so good, and it really bumped the whole series as a whole up for me. That being said, I feel like it could have been so much better, and it just wasn't quite there, so for me, it kind of fell a little bit short. Next, I read one of the best graphic novel series that I have read in a very long time, and that is the first volume of Giant Days. This graphic novel series follows 3 women in college, and it's a contemporary graphic novel series, which honestly you don't see very often anymore, and I was laughing out loud as I was reading this. It was so funny and so relatable. All the characters are very redeemable but irredeemable. Like they have all of these really, really like terrible qualities, but like at the same time, like you read it and you're like, oh my god, that's so realistic, I'm like that, or I have a friend that's exactly like that. And like you just feel so connected to the characters, and the artwork is phenomenal and the storytelling is just so good. Easily 5 out of 5, highly recommend. Next, I read Big Mushy Happy Lump by Sarah Scribbles, or Sarah Anderson. I will leave a picture of the cover up here for you guys. This is, Sarah Scribbles is like one of my favorite comedians slash comic artists ever. I could not love her more. I was having like a really bad day and this book came into my store and I read the whole thing in a single sitting, and honestly it made my entire week. I was laughing the whole time, easily 5 out of 5 stars. Like it's an easy one sitting read, and like again, she's so good at making her characters so relatable. Like the whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, yes, yes. Like this is totally how I feel on a regular basis. She is just amazing. I will leave her linked down below. Actually, I'll leave her web series, webcomic, website stuff all linked down below for you because you should really check her out. She's amazing. And last but not least, I have the audiobook that I finished in the month of February, and that is Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding. This is another thing this month that kind of let me down a little bit. I've never seen the movie, and I'm hoping the movie's actually better than the book, to be honest with you, and I actually can't believe I'm saying that. I had really high hopes for this book, and it fell short, like a lot of other things that I read this month that I still enjoyed. I really enjoyed this. It was very funny. I was laughing out loud almost the entire time I was listening to the audiobook. I just kind of felt like I was expecting this book to be this like amazing rom-com because it's kind of like portrayed by society as being one of the best rom-coms ever. I found some of the characters very underdeveloped. I found Bridget to be like very relatable but also like really annoying, and kind of like a lot of times I was like, what the heck are you thinking right now? Like I feel like obviously that's the point the author was going for, but I kind of feel like I don't know. Also, I felt the ending very rushed. I felt like what ends up happening at the end very rushed, and I don't know whether that happens in the movie as well. If I do end up watching the movie soon, I'll try to do like a book to movie like review for you guys because I feel like this would be a good one to do that for. But I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars. Enjoyable, very funny, just not quite as amazing as I was expecting it to be. Okay, so these, along with All Are Wrong Todays and Big Mushy Happy Lump, are my books that I read in the month of February. I read a total of 7 things, which is like amazing. I'm super proud of myself. Make sure to comment down below and let me know what you guys read in the month of February, and otherwise I'll see you guys soon with another video. Happy reading. Bye!
Victims of the loneliness find themselves in the darkest places. You've been used